show. Really excited. I wasn't able to fix in the shave. I always like to be clean and shaven for the show, but I did make sure to put on the tie back on for y'all. I haven't been doing this too much because I have to go to work right after, but I wanted to, return to the roots a little bit. Speaking of roots, we maybe I can get it in the shot. Yeah, we got the old tablecloth back too. And don't worry, we still have great apron game. So what we're making tonight is a vegetable frittata? Is that how you say it? All the spell checks tell me I'm spelling it wrong. I'm just looking at how it was in the recipe book. Now, I'm going to be using, I'm already making a substitution. I'm already changing the recipe. Let me bring that up for you while we're talking about it. We're going to make me real skinny for a second. You thought I couldn't get any skinnier? Let me turn sideways for you. Alright, so this is a really simple recipe. What I love about it is all this stuff can either come out of your refrigerator or your freezer. It does not necessarily have to be fresh produce. Well, eggs are fresh, But come on, don't take me out of context if you can. So, I do need to do a sound check real quick to make sure that all did come in lovey-dovey, but don't you worry, I am right here, everybody. We even got the little, little Boba Fett over here holding down the fort for us on our phones. We're just gonna bring up a little twitch. Let's see, I'm feeling like the measuring cup apron for this. I think that's the way you're gonna go. You know what? Let's just go straight white today. Straight white today. And let's see, do we want to tie it over? I want to tie it under. You know what? Here's what we're gonna do about that. We're gonna pull off a little bit of an old military style, like so. Actually, yeah. We're going to tie it. Is this the front? Ah, no, it's not. All right. Ah, come on, doing a sound check. Come on now. Come on now. Let's see what I sound like. I did a little private video the other day. And so woo, see, I caught the echo. In my first shows, let me tell you, I was not good about cutting out the echo. My first couple shows, oh man, they were the most echoiest thing. Had no viewers. I knew I wasn't being watched too much. I guess we can put the tie back down. There we go, folks. All right. So, let me also bring up the creator dashboard now. That way I can check in with everyone's lovey-dovey. Stream manager. Also, what we are going to do in the show. So, I've been talking for weeks that I was going to be able to email everybody the recipes that we do here on the show. I ran into a snag. See, one of the DJs that I follow here on Twitch, DJ Maxwell, well, he is a Twitch partner, so he gets a little bit more tools than I do, who is not even an affiliate. Now, so, one of two things is going to have to happen. Either I'll have to blow up to become partner status, which is not the hardest thing to do for a cooking show. It's one of the few streams I feel is still a little bit more discoverable. Has room to grow. There we go, we got the chat up. Perfect. And then, yeah, I just want the chat up. And then I guess I'm going to still, now, what I was getting at is that how we're going to organize the show a bit better is here on Twitch, I was looking at some of the tools that I do have. And what we are going to do is I'm going to be able to actually mark in the Twitch video where I am in the steps, which is great because I do a bit of talking, I do a bit of relaxing. So for people that just want to go step, 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 we're going to have it right there, or we're going to try. We're going to try at least. And then I wanted to give a slightly different view of the kitchen. Now on the show before, I had always had moved stuff around, and I usually put my little computer system over here on this wall. But you can see how much I would have to move around this stuff so I could have the cutting board. Long story. So I want to show just more about how I actually work in this kitchen, because as I have been honing this show, I've also been able to get, just make this really my own space. It's been really great. And I'm all ecstatic about that because I haven't really had my own space like this before, the own kitchen, you know. So this is great. Hello, Schmuckums. Welcome to the show. We got real easy recipes going on today. It's coming out. These can be made in just a couple minutes. I'm also going to be doing a black bean soup, and we're probably going to make a quick little mint fruit salad as well. But just taking my time, warming up, everyone. I just really, I wanted to show how I have everything. Now this might make some plant daddies go mad. Now you might think that this mint back here isn't doing so well, but actually there's just too much there. So we're going to go back how we're going to prune when we get to our mint. And we're talking about also, well, I wanted to get the recipes out on Wednesdays. Maybe you got, what I want to say is what my motivator for making the recipes is, what do I have a lot at home? And I think that's what everyone else is thinking about as well. They're like, I have all this mint that I have to use, and I have no idea what to cook it with. And the best way to cook with stuff that you have in excess of is to have a physical cookbook, and to go into the back of that cookbook to the index and then look for the ingredient that you have too much of. Mine was mint, so that's how I found this recipe. It's just vegetable. It's just a little vegetable egg dish, but the mint is really just a little extra, but it's perfect because I can use a lot of mint. The other recipe that we have, the steak cat. Ha ha! Well, this right here, this is going to have to do for the steak, I'm afraid. But I do got coffee. Good to see you, Supreme Gaming. We're also going to make a little shake real quick. We're going to show, I'm going to go into my scary vegetarian ways today. So, we're also going to be cooking with the Instapot today. I have a few of the tools that I will show off right over here in the corner. We're actually going to be using all three of these today. I've been trying to be very good with the show about not using too fancy of appliances. Oh, wow. That beard comes in so quick, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's get right down to it, shall we? So I'm going to go ahead and bust out some ingredients. So, and then also I figured this would be a great way to kind of see where I keep everything stored in the kitchen. So, now for this recipe, for the black beans, I'm going to make quite a bit of it, and how I would split this recipe up is that just divide it into thirds. I'm going to make a recipe that uses 3 cans of black beans. This is a super simple recipe. All it is black beans, jalapenos, onions, salt, pepper to taste, and if you like, You can substitute the water that you'd use for a chicken broth, a vegetable broth, or a no chicken broth for those full vegetarians out there. Now, it's it's a great time to say that I am a vegetarian, but there's no reason this show is for everybody. And I don't want to focus on the labels so much because I think people should be allowed to explain that they're vegetarian, but they might still have chicken broth, they might still have bone broth. They might just really reduce, the meat that they're consuming. Or for my example, I still really enjoyed a piece of turkey on Thanksgiving. It was really specially prepared. I really liked it. It was great. Meat is very convenient. I would personally, as a vegetarian, I think of having a little bit of meat more in the winter times. A rabbit is good in the winter times. I'd still be interested in fishing as well. Vegetarian does allow you to still eat fish. I think that puts you specifically more on the pescatarian line. All sorts. And it's just, the labels are great to just communicate quick little details. That way I don't have to, spend the 5 minutes like I just did explaining, like, well, yeah, here's the little nuances to it. Vegetarians also, I want to make a distinction that vegetarian and veganism are they're down the same, they're like on the same, they're on the same football field, but they're two different teams playing. Maybe that works, maybe that doesn't. But vegetarians still have a lot of options. You could cook vegetarian for someone. You could be full omnivore, and you probably wouldn't even notice. What this means is that it's just the absence of carcass, to put it, for vegetarians, to put it simply. It's the absence of carcass. They still have their cheese, they still have their eggs, they still have their bread, they still have their glutens. That's all vegetarianism is that they just cut out the carcass. Now veganism goes one step further, or maybe like 3 steps further, depending on how you look at it. They don't have anything that is made by animals, so that means that they don't have the cheeses, that they don't have the eggs. Some of them don't even have the avocados, which, is like, that's when I start wondering, wow, vegans, how are you getting your food? Because like, you're just, for me, like the cheese, the avocados and things, the eggs, these are still very important for me, for my diet, because if I cut those things out, I'm already skinny enough. I started losing way too much weight, and it was just specifically what I removed from my diet was cheese, and for a while I was having like a higher energy. Yeah, basically just I felt better, higher energy. I didn't feel so sloth, but I started losing way too much weight. I have no weight to lose, so I put cheese back on the menu. So, now, we are going to make that black bean soup with the Instapot and also an immersion blender. However, the third tool that we had over there was a regular blender. Now, if you want to make the soup, the black bean soup, instead of cooking it all on the stovetop and then blending it, I highly recommend, if you need to pour your cans of beans into the blender, to blend it while it's just fresh out of the can, cold. That will make it just a lot easier. It will be easier on your blender appliance. Not all blenders are created equally. Some handle the heat better than others. If you have a smoothie maker, like one of those Ninjas, they actually have a setting that will heat up the soups. It's really cool. You got the Instapot, but that Ninja blender that heats it up, you could make it even quicker than in the Instapot. You could just put all the onion, the black beans, and all the little ingredients that we were talking about into the Ninja, blend it, and it'll heat it up for you. That's like super convenient. but I'm going to stick with more of the traditional blenders for now. My next big purchase is going to be a Bosch Universal Mixer, and I really want to get that one because it has different attachments. It'll let me bring a food processor into the kitchen, and right now all I have for a food processor is this attachment that goes onto my immersion blender. Immersion blender is another one of those tools that I really do suggest people picking up. I was unable to find an inexpensive unit, but I have been able to find sources that tell me that a reliable one can be found for about $40. So it's not that expensive an appliance, and they have other great uses. If you can find one that has other attachments that go on the bottom besides just the blade, you could get something that will help a whisker or a beater and help you mix in general. Alright, so the other mint, the other recipe that we're going to use this banana mint for here is, I'll bring it closer later, but this is very thin strands. I want to go ahead and give it a cut before it gets too lengthy. This is the secret to herbs, is that you just have to harvest them often, otherwise your plant doesn't grow the way you need to. It'll start getting more woody. Howdy, howdy, howdy. And what we're going to pair with that is some tropical fruit. This is, if I don't have it fresh right there, frozen or canned is great. Highly recommend it. Alright, let's bring back up. I'm going to be bouncing around back and forth, but we do need to start getting closer, skinning up myself a little bit. So, 8 ounces of cauliflower. Now, I happen to have some cauliflower here in the freezer somewhere. There it is. Now, I know like 5 minutes ago on my train of thought, I said I was already changing up the recipe. So, instead of using peas, from a previous mistake that I had earlier, I am going to be using some shelled soybeans. Now, what happened was, I saw a green thing. Look at how peaty this looks like, right? Look how much like a steak this looks like right here. Look at this delicious steak right here. Well, it was green and round, and I thought they were peas. They were not, but we're going to use them again for this recipe. The one modification I'm going to make to this recipe is that instead of adding the peas after I cook the vegetables in 2 inches of water, I'm going to go ahead and add this frozen product to that as well. And I have a strainer that doesn't have to remove the pot, so I don't have to worry about this straining through the holes. Now I do make sure I have the chat up. Ah, yeah, I do love me some avocados, right? Okay. With the bone. Ah, yeah, all that, those 3 ingredients, the chicken, pork, and the beef. It gets boring real quick. I got all these vegetables that I can throw in the mix. The best part is, I can still be a vegetarian. And I can, you know, okay, so the reason why veganism is so strict about like, no, you cannot do this, no, is because there's a lot of, it developed through activism. It's the activism for animal rights. That's why it's so much like, dead on. I think that vegetarians don't have that. Like, I think you could enjoy your steak still and still claim a vegetarian identity. Again, it's like, how often are you partaking in these steaks? If it's in the winter time, if it's when you grew your cattle up alongside, and you know, you let that animal live more than 2 years, which is usually when the animal is slaughtered, you let it maybe fully grow 4 or 6 years, that's wealth right there. and cutting up, and with that animal, or you're, other people do this work for you now. You can support your local economies, see what farms that you got in. There's farms all over the place. I know we're so, this might be a more American audience, but there's so much food and produce that comes from America. I know that we get a lot of our goods and technologies outsourced, but I really want to remind people just how rich America is in the terms of food, its produce. You might have local butcheries all over, expect the middle, even in some place like Washington State, you go over to the eastern side of things. Oh, goodness. I don't necessarily go and advocate all the way for veganism. I think that vegetarian is just, you'll get a lot of nutrients. I think you'll get more nutrients than you'll necessarily get from just, getting your pickles and your lettuce on the burger every day. It's a lot more fun. Okay, so still just getting out, but also with the cauliflower here that we're going to be using is when we say to cut it into florets, it's just these little pieces right here that we're talking about. That's the floret. When you get the cauliflower, it looks a lot like a broccoli. So you just go ahead and pick it off, cut it off, wash it, all that jazz. And let's see. So we also need to get a carrot. Now I would imagine that this is talking about one large carrot. We're going to go ahead and look. Now, if you're getting you can have your carrots in a couple different ways. You can see that the green tops, let's bring this out in the split. You can see that these green tops have already been cut off. That is how you will store them in the fridge. If you get your carrots and they have the green tops, before you put them in the fridge, go ahead and give those a chop off. I don't know too many recipes that use carrot greens, but I do know that some people like those. So when I think about a large carrot, I want it to be thicker than my thumb, this is as thick as my thumb at the base. So I'm going to go ahead and double this up, and that will be about one nice size carrot for me. This is one of the reasons why I am not afraid about having. See you later, Supreme Gaming. Thanks for dropping by for a little bit. So, what we're going to do now, just getting all our stuff put over here. Got the black beans going with onions. That's for that over there. What else do we need? We got our butter, and we need to get our 4 eggs, which we're going to go ahead and crack those out a little bit early. Go ahead, and we'll get a bowl here. So we'll go ahead and crack our eggs out real quick. Now I'm going to do it right over here by the sink. And we're just going to do a quick 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright, now this is kind of more of a nuanced thing. But what I'm going to do, so this is the dirty part, the fingertips dirty part of my hand. So what I did to close this is I knocked it with the hand, put it back on over this, and I'm going to use my left hand to put it back in the fridge. This is to keep you from contaminating, and then I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands now. So this is also something else that I like to talk about, that something I wanted to mention is one of the practices I have is that I have 2 different types of soap. I have a different soap for my kitchen than I do for my bathroom. So in the kitchen, it is really easy to get everyone in the family sick. So I make sure to have an antibacterial soap up here in the front kitchen. Now I have, for the bathroom, I have a more gentler Myers lavender soap. It's not necessarily the antibacterial mix. And I do that just so, as many cooks might know, with that really bad soap that they have in the restaurants, it dries out your hands really badly. In fact, something that I would even recommend is, if you work in a restaurant, is to bring your own soap. And write that, if you're in America, write it off on your taxes, write your uniform off on your taxes. Keep those receipts, okay? If you have to buy your own knife, you know, like, you can get reimbursed with that, just like the business owners get reimbursed for all sorts of stuff, okay? This is not cheating the system, okay? That is not cheating the system. That is just this basic tax code. I'm not an expert on these things, but I want people to know what to look for. Scrape down the carrots a little bit. We'll get those all chopped up. Let's see. And then I have such a little fancy butter dish now. And I'm going to go ahead. So the trick is, now it says 8-inch skillet. However, this needs to be an 8-inch skillet that can go in it. I do not recommend it having a plastic handle. Now it's only going to be going into the broiler for about 2 minutes at the end, and that's just to set the top. Other frittata recipes just call you throwing the whole thing into the oven. The broiler is being used to speed things up. This is actually going to be thrown together in a couple minutes. Thank you so much for the Thai comment. I tried to bring it back a little bit because I couldn't get the shave in, so I was like, I can't look like a bum and cook for the people. Also, Donut Kid, this might be a good time to know that I actually decided on a name for the show, and the name that we're going with is Familia Lucy, and it's or maybe even more affectionately, Familia de Lucy, or excuse me, it would be Familia de Luce. Before the Lucy name was Americanized. I already washed my hands, but for some reason I'm already going to the sink again. This is the most important part, I tell you, that just having a good hand washing. Soap might be one of the most important inventions ever. I did say that there was going to be music though, didn't I? I did say that there was going to be music. Let's fix this before we get to cooking, shall we? You guys have heard of my nonsense enough. Let's bring this up. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do Stream Beats by Harris Heller. And I'll try my best to see when an advertisement's playing on this. That way I can tune that down for you. All right? So let me check to make sure that the music is coming in okay here. Just going to go back and forth a little bit. I just want to see how loud it is. I don't seem to have music coming back yet. And this will help that little chatter that we got going down on the Let's see. How's it sounding? Can you hear me? Okay, let's see. Let's turn this down just a little bit. And I bet we're going to be good with the music now. Harris Heller Stream Beats. Thank you. Thank you for being awesome. And we're going to cut the difference again. And I bet we're going to be good. See you later, Donut Kid. This is great. I almost waved at my phone here. That's funny. Alright, let's get to work. Just gotta go back to my stream manager. Alright. So not even that much to chop up really today. We're gonna go ahead and we'll still do the chopping over here. And I think I'm only going to need a little cutting board today. And then one of the tricks, if it's the cutting board is moving around too much, is take one of your handy dandy cloths right here. This one's a little big. Just put it on down. Let's see, let's get one. This one doesn't have enough grip. So actually a bad example. There we go. This one, you see how I have to really push down to get it to move? Nice stable cutting board. Very, very important. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and get some water boiling too. 2 inches of water. Oop, we're going to use the filtered water for that. And this is just enough water to get everything covered, is what the 2 inches of water is. So I have just about enough. I'm going to take it over here. We're going to go ahead, get that heated up. We'll go ahead and slice up these carrots here real quick. Now what I like to do is to cut it. If your carrot is too small here at the top, what you can do is, you see how I put this diagonal slice into it? That increases the surface area going across. And then when you get to the thicker part of the carrot, you can go ahead and start cutting it directly in half again. Alright. Disconnected from chat. What? Alright. Now I'm going for thin slices. We're going for no larger than a 1/4 inch here on the slice. Push those over to the side. Now, you might see some hacks about regrowing carrot tops in some water. Now that again is only for the greens. You won't actually get, the root won't actually grow back. So be careful with that little hack. If you really like carrot greens, that is your #1 diet. By all means, replant your carrot heads. Alright. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a lid on this just to get it to coming up to boiling quicker. Let's see. I believe this lid is going to work for that. Too small. Ah! That's the lid I want. There we go. That one back down in there. We have that in 8. We're going to go ahead and put this added to just to start warming up. We're going to go ahead and measure out our cup of peas. In this case, it is shelled soybean. I had it out of the freezer for a couple minutes. That made it really easy to just break up. Alright, there we go. Cup of peas, and then 8 ounces of cauliflower. Now, this is actually really easy when you already have it. So this is 12 ounces, so I'm going to use 2/3 of the bag to get 8 ounces. And they said that we were never going to use math in the real world. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put these away in the freezer. Anything that I have opened up, I like to keep here on the side of the freezer, and then I keep bulk here in the back. That way I can always open up, know I have open, and it doesn't get stuck somewhere in the back. Flip this back over. Wow. Alright, so I can see the steam is starting to come up on that. We'll be getting a little boil here shortly. I'm going to use 2/3 of the bag of cauliflower. I really like keeping some kitchen scissors because it makes it really easy to open up bags. And so 2/3 of this, 2/3. Now, I'm going to go ahead. I really do need to wait for this to get to boiling. So I'm going to take a quick pause on that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set up the Instapot right here, and we're going to go ahead and dice up one more. Do I want to do a red onion? You know what? I'm actually going to just do a smaller yellow onion here. So we'll have some red and some yellow onion. That actually sounds delicious. So, instead of buying Tupperware, what I also like to show off to people is that I just like keeping, that this was leftovers on a recipe. I didn't use all of a red onion, so I finished chopping it up. And now it saves me this step. I could, if you already have your prep done, it saves you a lot of time. Or if you have someone working the prep and someone working the stove, if you're trying to tag team it and as a couple in the kitchen, you guys can pull off 30-minute recipes in twice the time. Or excuse me, half the time. Math. Okay, so I'm at a boil here, and something that I do with my lids here, if you might notice, instead of just taking it straight off, I lift it up and I let the water drip back down to it. That way, it's just a little helpful tip. Now don't forget that you have this burner on too. We have that on it too. We're going to take two-thirds. There we go. I'm a rebel, what can I say? I like my veggies. Okay, so there's only like one too big of a piece. But we won't worry about that too much. Actually, you know what, we will. So we're just gonna go ahead, yeah, it was frozen. We're just gonna go ahead and chop that one in half. There we go, back to work. So, and then I'm also gonna go ahead and put in everything else. Give it a quick stir. Every bean. Alright, then we'll get to put that. Wonderful. Now, this is just coming up very slowly because we're going to be cooking the eggs on it, and I always like having a well-heated surface to be able to pull that off. Alright. And then, as you know, as I say, clean as you go, sign of a pro. And we're going to go ahead need to start prepping on getting our mint taken care of. This is going to be, it was frozen. The recipe calls just for, what's the word? Room temperature. So it should only take 4 minutes for that to cook. But since it is frozen, what we did is we waited for the water to boil. We added it. The water is no longer boiling. We wait for it to come back up to temperature. When it starts boiling again, we'll turn it down just slightly, and then we start our 4 minutes on the cooking. All right. That will help you keep it consistent every time, because frozen is a temperature, boiling is a temperature. When you add something frozen to boiling water, it drops it nearly the same amount. Instead of just like you have lukewarm water and then you add your frozen product to it. Do you see how, if you did it like that, how you're not hitting the same mark every time? Alright, so we're also going to just cut up one other onion real quick and then get our mint started. And then with these onions, I do the same thing every time. So I cut off the top, and then I cut it in half. And I go ahead and I just peel back the first layer. And I guess, unbeknownst to me, I've been cutting onions the hashtag lazy way this whole time, which is kind of absurd. I don't like telling people that are just starting to cook to go and slice their onion in half like this. The reason why I just have people do 4 to 6 cuts down on the onion and then turn it and do the rest of their chops is because I know that a lot of people are new to the kitchen, and there's a professional way to do it, and then there's the way, you know, you build up to these skills. This is that cutting on the slide, yeah, it's basic, but it still might be too much for some folks. So I often skip that part. So call me lazy if you have to. Alright. So I'm just cutting up some onion right here. Real quick like. And I am trying to pay attention. Now, I guess advertisement does still get played on this. So I'll try to keep my eyes out for it. I really will. We're going to go ahead, this is out of boiling, we're going to go ahead and set this for 4 minutes. We're going to turn it down to a 6 because we still got the lid on. You guys will understand why I was talking so much once you see how, aha, there's the advertisement they were talking about. We'll go ahead and give that a quick move for everyone. Sorry about that. So, now I got my onions. I'm just going to go ahead, give it one more rough drop there. 4 minutes on the timer. And we're going to go ahead and bring our Instant Pot over into the shots. Now, where you're setting up your Instant Pot, you have the little steamer back here. This one is an Instapot with, it is also a pressure cooker. So I don't want it pushed back that far because I don't want the steam going up all into my cabinet here. So make sure to have it pulled out if you can. Even this is enough. It's not going directly under anymore. Yeah, it's hitting here of your cabinets, but trust me, the steam, this is hitting the cabinets, so don't fret too much about it. Looks like we got the music back again. So, I keep a little extra attachment in my pot, that way I don't lose it. And I'm just going to inspect the bowl real quick. I want it to be a little bit tighter than that. There is just looks like some watermarks, so I just want to get that out. The lid was on it. I'm not worried. And also, I'm not drying this off. I didn't get any of the outside super wet. Even just give a quick I'm just getting this prepped up. I'll be sure to do this one step at a time for everyone, because the main course is the vegetable frittata, and we need to start getting our mint pulled out. So here is the mint in question. Oop, I want to. There we go. Okay. So, let's take a look at how this is growing, okay? You see how it's leaning over? It's just too big for itself, really. It's not doing bad. And how I know it's not doing bad is because look at all this new growth right here that we got going on. All this new growth. Doing very well. But I want that new growth to reach maximum potential. So, what we're going to do on the cuts here is, you see how I cut it here and it's forming a new one again? That's exactly what we want. So, you can see where I've actually made cuts where I started pulling this one back. We're going to really cut this back. We're going to look for the third node. Okay, so we're going to count. This has 3 nodes all on the end here. We're going to count that as 1 right here. So there's a node. This doesn't have any leaves on it anymore, but there was a node right there. And this is our third one right here. So if we count this as 1, 2, 3, we want to cut it back to this mark right here. Now, before we get too much into that, we're going to finish making the frittata. So, we have the 4 eggs. I'm going to lightly salt and pepper them. Now, if you don't have a whisk, a fork works just as well to whisk things up. Gonna give it, so when it says to give it a light whisk, what you're trying to do is just combine it without mixing too much air. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this up to about a 4, and then following the instructions, we are going to put our broil on high to start warming that up, and we're going to go ahead and crack the oven just slightly, because broil can really, it's only using the top part of the oven, so we just we don't want weird stuff happening. So I like to just crack it open a little bit, that way my oven doesn't get too hot, or the top of my stove doesn't get too hot because it's closed. So I just keep it slightly ajar. Okay, so these have cooked for the 4 minutes that they need, and we're going to go ahead and strain it. And like I said, I have this fancy strainer that lets me keep things in the pot. And this is great because I've never really been able to show people how I strain things out. This is one of my favorite types of strainers because of this. leftover water in that. I'm going to go ahead and put it off the burner. Now, so usually I always tell people, always have your handles facing in. This is one of the few times I'm actually going to have it faced out because I don't want it over my burner. Now this is a burning hazard right here, because think, and you might not be thinking about it too much, but if you have your handle, you know, you're cooking, you do what you need to do, and then it's like, okay, I'm going to take it off the heat, and you leave it like that. This burner is still cooling off and is now putting all the heat up on the top here. When you go to pick this up, it's going to be super hot. You probably will burn your hands. So, just have it away from the stove. The only danger, now you're not going to spill anything on you. The only danger is if you hit it like this, but nothing really bad's going to happen. I'm going to give that a quick rinse. My number one saying is clean as you go, sign of a pro. Alright, let's bring back up the split camera. Let's make these tiny. So, we ought to take a tablespoon of butter. This is why I love my little butter dish, is because I already have butter at room temperature. It melts so wonderfly. And I am also going to go ahead and dirty up a ceramic, or excuse me, not ceramic, a rubber spatula. I'm just going to take my tablespoon here. We'll go ahead and melt that butter. I took it off because I took it off the heat here while I'm melting the butter, because just for a second, because I don't want to burn the butter. Just want to melt the butter. Also, I don't want the butter getting too hot because I don't want to fry the egg. I want to cook the egg. Alright, so. And when we're going to add the egg is right when this stops the butter. Let's see. So it's melt the butter, pour in the eggs. Oh, add the vegetables, then pour in the eggs. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get these vegetables added. We won't wait quite. And when I poured this in, it like unmixed itself, which is just like physics showing off, in my opinion. Oh, you see, even I did it. You see how I put that over the burner? And you'll notice I was able to throw things back in because clean as you go, sign of pro. Also, we're going to talk about here in the kitchen a bad cook habit. So you might have saw that even I was doing it, is that I was leaning on my stovetop. That's a bad habit. And I'm talking specifically to restaurant workers here. That's a bad habit that you don't want to have. Another bad habit that you really don't want to have is the one knee. You know, you're putting all your weight on this leg over here. No good. You want to stand straight, balance, back, non-slip shoes. You can see I haven't even dirtied up the cups because I am aware of what's going on. Clean as you go, sign of a pro. I will not be impressed with someone that just that makes a total mess in the kitchen. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and pour in the egg. Okay, now with egg, if you are going to leave your dishes all the way to the end, something I really do recommend is to still clean out things that have cheese in it, things that have eggs in it, because they are really annoying. the cleanup after the fact. Okay, so one more thing that I'm also going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and pick this up a little bit. I'm going to stir it. That is so I get a very just quick stir. Now I might actually need to add another 2 eggs to this because I did use. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and add. Ooh. Yeah, we need a little bit more egg. We're going to go ahead and add 2 more eggs to this recipe just because Ecor here was very rambunctious with how many vegetables that he added. No worries, we'll get that in a second. I'm really working against time here because I already got other eggs cooking. So it's not going to be picture perfect here, and we're just going to leave it alone now. I might even add I could add probably 2 more eggs. Somehow it just didn't end up being enough. So I do have my broiler on, so you got a little smoke there. I really... Alright, so what that was all about is Robert thought that he knew better than the recipe. But when it says to just pour the eggs in over, just pour the eggs in over. You'll get a lot better look. Then try and mix it and combine it. So, now I'm going to be a little bit quicker on these cuts here. We'll go ahead and bring back out the full camera. Make sure I'm not missing nothing in the chat. Alright. And we're going to go ahead and start really cutting this back. So, and we're going to take this back down. And we're going to take this one down to here. And this guy we're going to take all the way back to this growth here. And this one we're going to take all the way back to that growth there.
And he told us that in 4 decades of work, this coronavirus has been a real curveball.
I've never seen anything closely resemble this virus.
Tap now to listen on Spotify. Back to you soon.
Your chilly evening can use a little more brightness. So add a splash of Tropicana Pure Premium Orange Juice with 100% of your daily dose
And
of
this
vitamin C for the
one
whole
right
family.
here. That one's
It's that
extra
little
long too.
evening
We'll
moment
cut
that
that
can
one
brighten their night. Tropicana,
back
set
down
your
there.
sunshine.
You can see how she's already like, thank you for removing that weight from me. And you can see that we have fresh greens growing in at the very bottom. Alright. We'll also go ahead and take care of this little dried one here real quick.
Switch today and you could save big. Grab your current mobile bill and use the Spectrum Mobile Savings Calculator to see how much you can save. Click to learn more. Spectrum Internet required.
It's slowly starting to set on the top here. Bring in the camera here real close. So slowly, almost set, not quite set. You can see how you got it set underneath, and you see how you got a little shake. We're going to give that just about 1 more minute. Maybe we can get this other mint cut real quick before we have to put that into the broiler to finish real quick. All right. Other big boy. Okay. So again, just going to do this rather quickly. I'm just looking for about the third one down. I try to look for where I still see growth coming in, new buds. And I try not to cut past that, but I am into the soil. I'm going to have to give my kitchen scissors a little clean. I am just looking to really cut this back because I don't want these stalks getting so thick here. This is like a pretty thick lady, thick boy. Alright, so this here, a little bit more done at this point. We're going to go ahead and let it set in the broiler for about 2 minutes. I have 3 all the way on top. Okay, and then we'll just start finishing up this mint right here. And then this one here, she looks a little lanky, but I'm going to leave her because she's brand new, and I know she'll grow into something gorgeous. All right, that's all there is to that. Okay, now we just have to pick this out real quick. So I'm going to go ahead, try to get that dirt picked up real quick. The soil, I should say. Now that is only going to take just a couple minutes. So, and now I'm just plucking everything off real quick. Just all the big leaves. And this right here, that's about a bunch. I mean, you could even double that and still call it a bunch. Alright, so I am waiting for 1 minute down left on the timer. I want to try, so I'm pulling it, I'm going to try to put my leaves just slightly more up. Because there's still like dirt coming in right here. Okay, so there's the 1 minute. Taking a look. Yes, it is formed. We'll go ahead and pull it out. Now, like I was saying before with the handle, and there you go. It's fully formed. This can serve 2 right here, maybe even 3. It's loaded with vegetables. And now, I know I talk so much, but it really only took about 5 minutes to make that. The longest part is probably going to be, it probably takes just as long to make this little mint. What is the word I'm looking for? Mint sauce? Oh, I'm so sorry. I think we have an advertisement going on. Nope. Okay. So just pulling all these out. Thank you. Thank you. All right. And just pulling out all our mint here. And then perfect. Okay. Yep, I just want to do this a little bit quickly. And also with pulling herbs off the stem, I know you can get that little fancy tool, but if you have kids, this is a great way to start getting them into the kitchen. If you're really worried about your kid, you know, just seeing all this processed food, this is a great way to show them like their food comes from the ground. And I've been so blessed with this mint. I can't wait to try this little. I'm going to be using a balsamic vinaigrette instead of a wine vinaigrette, so I'll have a little bit of different taste, but we're not canceling out the sweetness that is obtained with the honey or anything like that. And then for the cutting, I'm actually going to take this to, since we are working with thyme, I want to take this just to my little blender over here. All right, there we go. That's all that we needed there. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the broiler. Clean as you go, sign of the pro. All right, and we'll go ahead and take this moment. Put the egg away. Fork off the ground. Quick wash of our knife. All right, so very straightforward what we're going to do here. Get this mint placed into here. Got one big leaf that just won't let go. All right, there we go. Oh, I can smell that mint already. And this is why I was really looking forward to being able to use this. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my Instapot here. And I'm going to go ahead. Hello. Oh. Hello. Good morning. It's time to wake up. I'm going to go ahead and put it to saute. Not sure what's going on with that timer. Okay, so we're going to get, now we're going to, okay, so I'm going to use the other side of my spatula here. And we want every last drop of this out. This delicious mint. Now the processor really took it down a whole bunch. So if you were to cut this by hand, you'd actually, it would glow a little bit more, but obviously it would have less intensity of flavor. And this is meant for 2 people here, so it's just a nice little topping with the dinner that we got going on here. Okay. So now I have this on a saute, and instead of sauteing it though, actually we will. We are going to do it that way. We're going to add a little bit of oil. Usually I want to do water, but we are going to just we are going to use oil, and I was just planning on steaming the vegetables. But they're ready. We should go ahead and saute this. Okay. So I'll go ahead and add my little bit of sunflower oil here, about a tablespoon of sunflower oil. Sorry that that's off the camera shot right there. I didn't do that. Okay, so we gotta finish making this, and I need a tablespoon of honey, a tablespoon of vinaigrette. So here's the honey, and honey is one of those things where I really, really don't want to put it in a tablespoon or 5 milliliters. And this whole American measuring system, my goodness, am I going to move over to milliliters? You know, be the change that you want to see. Just switch over. You don't have to wait for the rest of the world though to do it, because the rest of the world already did. All right, so we're going to eyeball a tablespoon of honey, about so. And I'm going to give it a little stir. Now, if you were to use the white wine, you'd have a shinier color. That's still going to be a nice little flavor right there. I can feel it though. Go ahead and get this stuff put back away. Alright. We'll go ahead and get this bad boy plated up here. Okay. I want a little taste of this first though. Ooh, that's so much fun. I love mint so much. God. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put little tag markers. I forgot to put the tag markers on where we were with the recipes and stuff. Well, shucks. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use the same spoon that I've been using before. I'm going to go ahead and cut through this. Now, we do want to see how it was cooked on the bottom. Let's see. And it was just slightly brown, just cooked nice and fluffy. Put a little bit of that on top. A little goes a long way for this. You might think that you might want a whole bowl. You do not. This is an incredibly intense, rich flavor that we got going on. And very, very hard to mess up. This is like a simpler version of the Spanish tortilla that we did, was that 2 weeks back now at this point? Maybe it was 2 weeks back. This is what I mean, that it was okay if you can't do the flip. It was okay because this is like the step down from that. Like if you, like I was saying, the Spanish tortilla was very much like learning your finesse with ingredient and temperatures and the cooking with the potatoes and such. This is one step down, with cooking your eggs all the way through. And other recipes for frittatas are going to definitely tell you to just throw the whole thing in the oven. But you can see how quickly this was. You could throw this together all in about in less than 10 minutes from start to finish. And this is the end result. Let's see how we did, class. So first I'm going to try it just with the egg and such alone. Kind of tastes as expected. Very colorful though. Cauliflower and the egg mix their flavors in a way. Oh, they almost taste like one another. Let's get some of this mint in the action now. Wonderful. Ah, I love it. Definitely. Ooh, that brings the bang together right there. That's for sure. All right, and I'm also going to show you again how easy it is to make this black bean soup. We have really easy, simple recipes for you today. So this black bean soup here. So I'm going to go ahead and start sauteing my vegetables. I'm using about like 1 large onion in total. This is just some leftover red onion I have, which will give it more of a punch. The yellow onion is going to give it more of a sweetness to it. I'm going to go ahead and use a wooden spoon for this bad boy. Start sauteing. Ooh, delicious. Like I said, a little goes a long way. There's honey and a wine vinegar, which I did not have. I had rice vinegar, but when I was looking, I was like, okay, what is this wine vinegar doing? The sweetness of it, or just like kind of neutral. So, the balsamic. This will be okay because it's still complementing the sweetness with it. Yeah, I might have even been able to use a little bit of less of the balsamic vinegar. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put that on the cover like shown. Now the sauteing section I got going right here, you could also saute your meat. So if you're wanting to cook everything in the Instapot and you're working like working with the chili, you can go ahead and start on the saute setting, and you can go ahead and brown your grounds. You don't need a separate container over here. You can go all into the Instapot. Big fan of the Instapot, by the way. I'm going to go ahead and open up these cans real quick. So let me, I'm going to go ahead and mute my microphone for a moment. Alright, so one of those things I'm definitely going to have to add to the show is like a better can opener. Now this is, it's sauteing nice. It's just hitting that browning point. It's just like what I want to see. And I'm going to go ahead and add my beans straight in. That's going to settle everything down real quick.
American Family Insurance.
Second one.
Protecting your dreams as you achieve.
Second can of beans.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company assigned its operating companies. American Family Life Insurance Company, 6000 American Corporate, Madison, Wisconsin.
3 can of beans. Get that all down from the top. And we're going to go ahead, I'm going to add 1 cup of, I've been working on this no chicken broth over here. And I only have like probably a cup or 2 left.
Hey,
I'm
it's
going to be
your
working
home,
with this.
and I need to ask you a few favors. In the kitchen, there's a spider stuck.
And that's the secret on where I get my cooking ideas. I just look up, well, what have I been using? What's in the fridge? And I think I have about 1 cup, just a little bit. I feel like there's a half cup left in here. I'm going to go ahead and add that 1 cup in. And we'll see if we can add that other half cup. And you know what? I think we're going to be able to get away with it. Now the secret when you're just kind of like BSing, you're just throwing stuff that you have together in the fridge, so you can always add but you can never take away. And go ahead and just for giggles, because I do like to say that, aha, look at that, a half cup. I do like to measure out everything so people can duplicate my results. I don't want to leave these stranded there. And now this is all cooking in the Instant Pot. Now I still have it on the saute. I want to go ahead and I want to put this onto, let's see. Okay, so I had to cancel the saute. And I want to go ahead and pressure cook this as a soup or a broth. And really it's only going to need like 15 minutes to get it to where we need to be. It wouldn't even need that long, to be honest with you. I'm going to add a little bit. And also, just because I like a little spice in my life, I am going to add a couple tablespoons of jalapenos. I do like keeping my jalapenos jarred. You can use fresh jalapenos. I just find that they kind of go bad on me too quickly on something that I just always want to have on hand. Jalapenos. Okay. And it's just a tablespoon or 2. Ooh, I didn't realize that there was a Best Buy. 2022. Yeah, that's going to last a lot longer than in my refrigerator. Okay. A little spoon. 2 tablespoons. Clean as you go, Sniper Pro. Going to go ahead and get this lid on. Going to go ahead and turn the vent off. And there we go. That's all you have to do for the soup. Okay, and then we have a little bit of a fruit side that we're going to make as well. And that was with the tropical fruit here. Now I am going to just clean this up just a tiny bit. Ooh la la. I wonder how I'm supposed to save this though. Well, yeah, we're just going to tidy up just a smidge before we get to the last step there. Okay. I'm happy that I'm actually able to show everyone this step of the process now, because it was always kind of hidden off the camera about exactly how things would go. I want you to be able to show cleaning out the recyclables, how I clean them out. You know, you can end up wasting a lot of water cleaning out your cans, so it's super helpful to have one of these brushes here. And just get your recyclables clean. Don't leave them in the bottom of your sink though. That's how you're going to get little rust spots on your sink, and then you're going to have to replace your sink one day. Either that or invest in some Barkeeper's Friend. All in all, it's just some extra work that I don't recommend. Okay. And then also, even if you do have a garbage disposal, I do still keep a little drain here to catch my food, because something that you might not know about your garbage disposal is it's grinding things down, but you have to consider your water treatment facility in your area on how much you want to rely on that. You might be making it very difficult to treat the water that's going through your pipes depending on what you're throwing down there. So it's always best to remove the food that you can and to be able to either compost it or just get it into the garbage. Having that carried down on a water supply, it's convenient, but it should be for the extra the scraps that just don't quite make it. It's convenient, just don't push it too far. Don't throw everything down the drain. Still try to get it into the trash can whilst you can. Okay. And pretty straightforward, easy cleanup. I like this view because it's able to show it's just like, yeah, the kitchen stayed clean during the making of this video. I've watched a few other people stream, and something I guess people get asked a lot is like if they wash their own dishes or stuff like that. And I'm like, why is that such a weird, that seems like a really weird question. You know. And you know, I've been cooking before, and people are like, "Oh, the people eating better be the one cleaning up." And I'm like, yeah, that's one way to split the work, but kind of how I look at it. Is that if I'm practicing having someone, you know, clean up after me, I am not doing as good as the job as I could be doing, you know? It's like just leaving your dishes dirty. You're building a habit. No matter what you do, you're building up habits. And if you're always just throwing your dishes into the sink, leaving it till the end of dinner, that's the habit that you're building. Then you have to have Then you have to have another habit about how you clean your dishes after dinner. Or you can build the habit that you're clean as you go, and then you don't have any of that mess. You don't have to build the second habit. You have the one habit, cleaning as you go. So, we're going to make a quick little mint salad here. We're going to go ahead, get this all wiped off real quick. This needs a little bit more love. And I'll show you why I want to harvest this other mint while it's still kind of stringy and such, okay? Okay, so here we go. This is a banana mint. It's been on the show before here. And now she was growing really, really thin for a little bit because she wasn't getting enough water is what I was able to do. However, so we have some that are growing all off the sides like here, and so we're going to use this for a little fruit salad that we're making. And you know, so I'm getting a separate bowl because how Dole keeps their stuff here is they have, that worked the way I wanted it to, no. Okay, so with Dole, they have all their pineapple on the bottom. So if you're on some things, if you're just to scoop it up off the top here, you get, you know, all the other fruits. But then you'd have nothing but pineapple later on. So I like to dump it out, and then just dumping it straight out, you can see that that gives you a fairly nice mix. Now, again, just a quick rinse really helps making recycle easier. Okay, so what we're going to do here, this cup, we're going to move this a little over to the side. We're going to get our little fruit salad bowl here. Okay, and now so on these little edges ones here, I'm gonna look out there and just a little, and you can see, almost not see, I'm just gonna keep on cutting that. I'm making my cut off the plant, trying to see, I want it to grow more up. I'm gonna detangle this a little bit and then we'll get really good at it. So this, with the herbs here, reason why this is like a great example. There's a lot of people out there that say that man is separate from nature, and I couldn't disagree with that anymore. And one of the very first examples that you can find to disprove that fallacy is look at herbs. Herbs love to be harvested. If you harvest your basil, often you'll get 3 times the amount of basil that you would have otherwise. The plant responds to us. We are with it. So anything that's super lengthy, I'll even cut it way back. This one was, look at how long this one. This is so much energy for the plant, and it might not come to fruition. And it's this lengthy, so what's going to happen is that it's going to start, the stalk will start getting thicker and thicker, and we don't really want that. Since it's so nice and loose, and I'm using, since it's still nice and thin, it actually is going to go great as just a little, it's not too much. It's not too much to eat. You're going to get that nice mint flavor. So, I put in some, and this is how to help get your looks here. So that's the bottom of the dish here. And we're going to keep on harvesting a few more. I'm really looking for the long, lanky stuff. This stuff is super small. I'm going to let that grow a little bit more. I'm looking for kind of long and lanky, like this guy right here. He's kind of going to ham. This guy's right there at the 3rd node, going in strong, so I'm going to go ahead and leave him there for a little while longer. Let's see. See, look, another super long and lanky.
When he got on the TV show Star Search.
My mom had this outfit made for me that was like
super long and lanky.
With like these long
super long and lanky
pieces on it, and I looked like Glenn Campbell on crack.
I'm Alex Bloomberg. On Without Fail from
super long and lanky.
All kinds of people about their failures on the path to success. Tap now to listen on Spotify.
Oh, see, one more. See how lanky that is? Alright. That's about enough cuts off of that. We'll put her back.
With the help of an expert or let an expert.
We're going to go ahead and cut up this note even smaller. I'm just folding it over and over. And I'm going to go ahead.
Storm damage, and I had to file a claim. Could it possibly get worse? Will my claims team leave me or
and now I'm going to go ahead and add my fruit.
No, actually, when you file a claim with Geico,
and a little bit of everything in there.
Claims team who promises to stay with you throughout the process.
Oh, I've never known such loyalty. I can't wait
After
for the second
I have
season.
formed
Geico, great service
a layer of
without all
fruit,
the drama.
I'll go ahead and sprinkle some green. Layer my fruit again. And a little bit more green. And we'll top it. We'll polish it off there. Alright, now we have two parts of the whole dish that I was wanting to put together. Now, this is the frittata, which is just basically, think of scrambled eggs with that kind of makes a cakey or a pie-y with all the vegetables. Great way to get the vegetables and eggs. If all your kids are eating is eggs, see if you can, I bet they'll mistake this cauliflower for egg, you know? Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just wrap the top of this. I do try. I'm not big on Tupperware, but I am super big on saran wrap. So that's what we'll go ahead and use. And the last thing I'm going to put on this plate before we hit 8 o'clock tonight is I'm going to put a little bit of that black bean soup down on here. And it'll be on another little bowl. Not necessarily the way that I played it, just the way that it ended up. I might have the fruit salad on the side if I were to plate the black bean soup with this. And this may seem more like a breakfast food, but the cauliflower kind of helps put it into the dinner category, in my opinion. Alright, and we just have about 9 more minutes. It's pressure cooking. I'm going to go ahead and get everything else tidied up. And what I'm going to do here is I want to also show you how I store my leftovers. So I might not be a big Tupperware fan either, but man, oh man, do I love my Pyrex dishes. Is because I don't like to reheat things in the microwave. However, I have been changing my tune about microwave use. However, for meals, I do kind of like to reheat it into the oven. So with a lot of my meals, I go ahead and I just transfer it over. And I'm trying to scoop it out because I'm not trying to turn this into a scramble. So that's may be well as what happens. And this is why I say another great easy recipe to start up, because if you do end up just having to scramble it, you know, to get all the eggs cooked, not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. Still tastes exactly the same. And I want to get this into the fridge because it does have egg in it. So I do want to get it stored sooner than later. It has cooled down. Now we want to get it put away. Woo! That was close. Now this would be safe to go in the microwave, or it's already ready to be thrown in the oven. Another option with this meal would also to just be to keep it into that pan and just reheat it on your stove top for a few minutes. Did make a little bit of an extra mess. Forgive me for being off camera for a bit longer than expected. Alright. We have 6 minutes left. And for this is one of those few where I don't transfer it out. Just take it still. A little more saran wrap. Just wrap it up. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. In that order. I'll go ahead and add just a little water. Knock off that egg right there that we had. That was just to help out my dishwasher because there's stuff that was a little too stuck in there. Bring this camera back up here. Voila. Alright. Yeah, let's get that sink cleaned up for sure. Okay, so about 5 more minutes going on there. And we'll go ahead and give that a wash just for giggles. And we'll start. Yes, this too. Again, I want to get the extra food bits out if I can. Right. We're doing good. And I did want to get these. Now, the leftover this. Now, honestly, I kind of want to just mix it up with my fruit. It's been a while since I had the recipe pulled up. This is what we made today, ladies and gentlemen. With a clean kitchen coming up to 8 o'clock. It's been such a fun show to hang out with everyone. It's good to see people coming back, returning. I haven't seen some of you folks in a little while. Show every Friday night. Every Friday night. Alright. We just got the black bean soup coming out here in just a little bit. Now we'll kind of wrap up our show for the evening. Let's go ahead and get a quick sweep in while we're waiting. Why not? This is reminding me of that scene from SpongeBob when Squidward has his concert and he keeps on getting upstaged. We'll definitely grab a clip of that. Alright. We just got 2 minutes left on that Instapot there. And you're... Woo. Woo. Sorry about all the extra noise. We got a rogue broom in the house. Alright, alright. Settle down. Alright. Very close to being finished. I wonder if I said I was going to make a shake on this show today. Oh my goodness, I feel like my, my scruff is growing by the minute on this camera. I swear it wasn't, it's like, is it a full moon out there? Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and start depressurizing this now. Did I jump too much? Did I jump too much? And just, since that's what allowed, alright, pop the mic back on here. We're going to go down to the final shot of the show. How do we want to do it? Like that? Yeah, let's do it like that. There we go. There we go. All right. There is one more step I am going to take with this soup real quick, is I am going to go ahead and run the immersion blender through it. And I'll plate up this soup for you, and that will be the wrap of the show. Right on time, too, I might add. So here we go. And there is no reason why you can't have this black bean soup whole either. I think it just gets more of a thicker, soupy consistency when you break down and you grind up the black bean all the way. Black bean soup is probably one of my favorite soups.
Our care team of doctors are just a message away. Use
code Spotify at checkout.
And then while you're still reading it is when I recommend to go ahead and give a quick tasting test. See if you need more salt, more
Are you
pepper.
tired of paying all those extra taxes and fees? The average Verizon Wireless customer pays over $120 a year in added taxes and fees. With Spectrum Mobile, you'll pay $0
Nope,
in
I
added
think it
taxes
tastes
and
great.
fees, no matter how many lines
We're
you
gonna go
have.
ahead.
So stop paying and
Get
start
this
saving
lighted
with
up.
Spectrum Mobile. See how much you can save by switching. Spectrum Internet required. Visit spectrum.com/facts for details.
Your chilly evening can use a little more brightness. So add a splash of Tropicana Pure Premium Orange Juice with 100% of your daily dose of vitamin C for the whole family. It's that little evening moment that can brighten their night. Tropicana. Sip your sunshine.
Made a little bit of a mess right here. Ooh, no. I made another mess. See how I have just a scrap of paper towel? Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Nearly saying it again. Alright. There you are, everybody. This is the dish. So I actually, to plate this, what I did to get that plating there of the fruit here is I put it in the bowl and then I flipped the bowl upside down onto the plate and I lifted it up and I was able to get that gorgeous plating. Look at how colorful this food is. Tell me how your kid would not go bonkers nuts. And it tastes delicious. It can be thrown together in minutes. And there's also like something super cheeky that I always wanted to do when you take off the apron because it's food wares. Glad you liked it. We'll be able to get that. We'll be able to get that better some other day. Come on, work with me here. Oh, right. I was up close and personal with you. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yes. Come on. Yeah, bam. Money shot right there. And this wraps up our show, folks. Thank you so much for coming down. Now I do guess I need to enjoy this a bit on camera. Let me get a few shots real quick. Now I did figure out. I finally figured it out. I had a very helpful, very helpful friend. I am going to start posting the recipes to Pinterest. That's where I'm going to go. It's not going to be Instagram. I will go to Pinterest for this. I was so ecstatic because I don't want to be one of those Instagram foodies. I bet I could even. shot. Come on. Get the focus just right. And we'll pull that back. The last thing to do before work is to enjoy the meal. Again, I would really like to thank everyone for enjoying the show. Thank you so much for putting your energy into this cast. I love to cook. I want to see more people getting into the kitchen. These recipes, I know the show was 2 hours, a 2-hour stream, but I really threw in a lot of tips, sprinkled in a lot of goodness for you. This could get put together in 15 minutes. And I know more than once I've been saying about like, oh yeah, I'll totally show you how to cook the recipe in just 10 minutes. I still have had a very good track of not having any repeats on the show yet. The closest repeat I have is actually this black bean soup right here. And you know how I got around that? I cooked it in the Instapot instead. Turned out quite nice. What I really want, what I'm really looking at here is this banana mint goodness. Oh yeah. It adds such a refreshing flavor to the fruit, this banana mint. Highly, highly recommend this. And then here we got a little bit of carrot, soybean, cauliflower, egg. That obviously cooled off just a little bit. Just as delectable though. Doesn't taste like cold eggs. Tastes great. Oh, what does it taste like? It kind of tastes like a bit like cauliflower, to be honest with you. That's where I was really happy. So this is the savory. This is the mix right here. To round it off with a little bit of a spicy kick there at the end. Oh. Very happy. Very inexpensive. You can cook it in minutes. I would challenge you that you might be able to get this out in about 7 minutes. From scratch. Maybe if you had maybe if you already had some diced onions though, because I know the cutting takes a little bit for people. I did put away the chat, but let me bring her back up. Make sure I'm not missing out on any of the funness here. There we go. So, Pinterest. Pinterest is specifically where we're going to start keeping our recipes. I'll start taking pictures like I did at the end here, and we'll start throwing them up. It's not that I wasn't confident to put the recipes up on a website before. It's more that we just the show has been evolving. The show is almost half a year old now. We've been going really strong. Thank you all so much for your support and putting your energy into the show. I'm also I was thinking about Discord servers, this and that, and I think but Pinterest is just such a great solution for the recipes. There will still be a separate Discord server. That's going to be in a slightly different direction. That is more of a community that I will be developing, and right now it's called the Mansions of Lucy, and it just has all sorts of different rooms. And me and my sister have talked about it before. It's just that we don't want big houses for ourselves. We want big houses for, for anyone to stay. And so that's first. I got some time to go before I'll have an estate such as that. But in the meantime, I can create a digital one. So not a big announcement or anything like that. Just some things I've been working on. With the recipes, though, I really like how this all came together. Top notch right here, and just the variety of foods. Your nutritionist would marry you if she saw you eating this. I do have work to go to in a few little bit. I'll have to undress a little bit, but it shouldn't be too hard. Throw on some scrubs and get my butt to work. Oh, now I got this great food to eat right here. That's going to finish up my ramblings for the night. It looks like people are settling down. It's getting a little quiet. So again, thank you all so much for coming here, checking out the stream. The stream's name is officially Familia Lucy, and to explain that in this stream here is that it's a combination of languages, of Spanish and of French. I thought it was the best way to kind of pay homage to my family and the experiences that we have had here in the Americas, to explain, what my involvement is language, and languages to some call it Spanglish, mixing English and Spanish together.
Sip your sunshine.
But
Geico knows there are many reasons why you ride, from the exciting
this
adventure of the daily commute
as
to the peace
I
of
move
mind
forward, I
that
try to figure out
always
ways
has
to
your
pay
back
homage
with
to all my
24/7
roots,
access to claim service and
not
legendary
to
customer
glorify
service.
one in particular.
Available in 10
I think
flavors and in
language is an
particular
incredibly useful
Extremely
tool
averse to most fabrics, except for the soft, buttery
to be able
feeling
to
of leather.
accomplish
Thankfully,
that,
I
and that's
found my
what I
tribe of
did
leather
in this
lovers in the
title
biking
here.
community.
It's the
It's
first
been
people that I
life-changing.
want to be able to feed are my family, then my friends. Now I truly believe that you don't build a taller fence, that you build a longer table when you have the resources to do so. I think food can bring everyone together, and I don't want to see people separated with being vegetarians or vegans or pescatarians or omnivores or carnivores. We are all one people with beautiful histories. I'm going to wrap it up on that note. Ladies and gentlemen of the night, stay safe this Friday. Stay safe every Friday. Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure. And I'll see you all next week for another great show.